Hey guys, it's Red Hills Rancher here. It's Thursday, just a little bit after lunch, and I'm sitting here on my hill just enjoying the nice cool weather today. And want to take a few minutes out of the day to talk to y'all. You know, there's a lot of things going on in the news today, and I may not be the biggest landowner, or the biggest rancher, or biggest cattle producer, but we all have a voice. And I've been listening to a lot of guys like Corbett Wall and Bill Bullard and Steve Stratford, and they make some excellent points. And I'm not going to pretend to be nearly as educated on the beef market or cattle prices or cattle market in general as those gentlemen are. But that's okay. We all have a spot to be and a role to fill in this industry. You know, there's a lot of good organizations these days that are fighting for the American cattleman, that are fighting for the small producer. RCAF, Ranchers Cattlemen's Legal Action Fund, is one of them. USA Beef is another one. We've got to label our products accurately. You know, everybody you do business with as a cattleman or rancher should be supporting us in this fight. Your tractor dealers, your insurance agents, bankers, and especially your local leaders should all be supporting us in this fight. And what is this fight? This fight is to get more localized packing plants. I'm not talking about breaking up the big four. I'm talking about taking a little bit of their share away and feeding our own communities instead of relying on these big giant mega plants controlled by mega corporations that don't give a crap about you. All they care about is profit. I want to grow good beef. I don't want you to eat my good beef. And I don't want it to go through Tyson, JBS, Cargill, or National. I want it to go through a local plant. We need smaller, more localized slaughterhouses to serve the needs of our small communities, to pay our farmers and ranchers fairly for the cattle that they produce. When our farmers and ranchers are paid fairly for their cattle, and that money stays in a local packing plant to pay local wages, cattleman makes more money. There's more money reinvested in a local economy. We've got to stop the export of our food dollars out of our small communities, out of our states, and to foreign investors. You may not know this, but the big four meat producers, that's JBS, Tyson, Cargill, and National, they control 83% of the cattle slaughter. Four companies control 83% of the cattle market. So let's put that in perspective. There's 893 USDA inspected slaughter plants in the United States. 50 of them killed 98% of the cattle. So 50 plants are responsible for the slaughter of 98% of our cattle herd and produce 98% of our beef every year. Just one of those has a slowdown. Two of them have a slowdown, and we see things happening like are happening now. We saw it during the Tyson fire. We didn't get any investigation of the packers after the Tyson fire. Said we did, but nothing ever came of that. And now here we are 9 months later in a very similar situation where cattlemen are getting screwed on the price they're offered for live cattle, and consumers are getting screwed on the price they pay for boxed beef. And these four big companies are raking in billions a week right now. Now JBS, little fun fact about JBS. JBS is owned by the Batista brothers, and they're from Brazil. Any money that they make gets shipped out of country. How about that? If you really want some more insight into how the meat industry and the protein industry functions, y'all need to read The Meat Racket. It's by Christopher Leonard. It's available as an audiobook. I listened to it on Audible over the wintertime. I've listened to it twice now, and what an eye-opening perspective on protein markets and the protein industry. It'll sure make you look at that piece of chicken at the grocery store, or that chicken sandwich, or those chicken McNuggets. Sure make you look at them a lot differently after you read or listen to The Meat Racket. So where do we go from here? Well, I wish I had answers, and I'm working as hard as I can, as fast as I can, to try to bring a local meat processing facility to my area here in the Red Hills. I want that, and I'm going to try to make that happen. If you think you can help and you're here in the Red Hills located nearby, please send me a message and let's have a conversation. So one of the things that can really help would be for Congress to pass the Prime Act. And the Prime Act is sponsored by Congressman Massey out of Kentucky. And what the Prime Act would do is it would loosen the regulations on small packing plants, loosen the federal regulations that are restricting farmers and ranchers like me from having meat processed locally and being able to sell it locally. That's a reform, a federal level reform that we very, very seriously need. And I encourage you to call your congressmen, call your senators every single day and make your feelings on this issue known. Tell them you want the Prime Act passed. Tell them you're concerned about how much money the packers are making. Tell them you're concerned about America's farmers and ranchers getting screwed. Tell them you're concerned about meat shortages. So, a couple more things before I close out, and I know this is kind of a long video, and I apologize, but there's a lot going on and there's a lot to cover. So last night, I saw that the president has ordered the Department of Justice to investigate the packers and their price fixing. I think that's great, but I have very little faith in government to actually handle this problem effectively. I'll go back to my point in closing that everybody you do business with in your community, and even outside of your community, they need to support you in this fight. I want to know where the KLA is, Kansas Livestock Association. I want to know where NCBA is, National Cattlemen's Beef Association. I want to know where the Beef Checkoff is. Where are they? They don't seem to be supporting farmers and ranchers. They seem to be ignoring us, and all they want to do is talk about how great beef is. That helps the packers. Producers pay for the checkoff. It's time that the checkoff actually help the producers. Guys, it's a horrible situation. It's not just beef being foreign owned. Pork, if you like to eat bacon, if you like to eat pork chops, Smithfield Foods and any of their brands, which there's a whole bunch, they're owned by the Chinese. So profits that Smithfield makes go to China. Guys, I want to send my food dollars locally. I want to keep my food dollars in my community, and I want to enrich the people that grow my food, not just myself. And I encourage you to do the same. Shop local, shop small, and shake the hand that feeds you. Pressure your elected officials to support the Prime Act. Pressure your elected officials to look into the situation in the cattle markets and the packers. It's time to start demanding USA beef. It's time to demand that our meat products, our protein products are accurately labeled about where they are grown and processed. If we get that, we can help out a whole lot of cattlemen, and we can hopefully save the cattle industry in this country. Guys, I've gone on long enough. I'm Red Hills Rancher. And if this message resonates with you, if you agree with my message, please share it. Please encourage other people to share it and spread this message around. The farther it goes, the faster it goes, the more pressure we put on our lawmakers, the more pressure we put on corporate America, the faster we can get this changed. This has to be a grassroots effort led from us, by us, from the ground up. That's the only way we're going to get meaningful change, guys. So get on the phone, get on email, write some emails to your Congress critters and your senators. Call them every day. That's what it's going to take to get this done, guys. I'm done ranting. I'm going to go back to work. It's a beautiful day in the Red Hills. I'm just going to enjoy it and get some fence built. Gang, have a great day. Red Hills Ranchers signing off.